There's a big shakeup at Disney with CEO Bob Iger stepping down.
From acquiring Marvel to Disney Plus to Baby Yoda, we break down his legacy and talk about the New York Toy Fair. Stick around for your Daily Charge.
Good morning and welcome to the Daily Charge. It's Wednesday, February 26th. I'm Roger Chang.
And I'm Mike Sorrentino.
And here are today's headlines. Disney's Bob Iger stepped down as CEO, but will remain as executive chairman until the end of the year. While his departure has been widely anticipated, the news still comes as a bit of a shocker since he had delayed his retirement multiple times to find his successor. We've got one now. His name is Bob Chapek. He'll take over as CEO. But before we talk about Bob, let's talk about the original Bob Iger, and his contribution to Disney. What were some of the big highlights for you?
Bob to Bob for Disney.
Yes.
So it came out of nowhere in the middle of the earnings call yesterday. And in a way, he gets to go out kind of on top. Like Disney Plus, their streaming service launch was very successful.
Right.
The photo that was just ran on the screen, he gets to go out with like a corporate photo of him and a little Baby Yoda. It's kind of hard to not get around that.
So beyond Disney Plus, which was obviously the most recent thing, but there've been a lot of big successes credited to Bob Iger, right? He's basically bought up most of our childhood, right?
Yeah.
Pixar, Marvel. What was the latest acquisition? He's basically bought everything. Lucasfilms, Fox. Yeah, how could I miss Star Wars? Sorry. And Fox, right? And so he's cobbled together this sort of massive Hollywood infrastructure. He's actually improved the parks, right? I think when he started, a bunch of the parks were not doing well, and he was credited towards like building up Disneyland Hong Kong or Japan, and building up Disney California Adventure. So he's done a lot for the company, but we got to go back to Disney Plus and The Mandalorian, which is just sort of the latest thing that's fresh in our minds.
It's a fascinating juncture, since on one hand, like there's so much now going forward, there's so much, especially with the Fox acquisition, there's a lot of new activity going on. So he's choosing to step away amidst Marvel's all the movies that they're about to relaunch for the Phase 4, and
right. And of course we've got to talk about Baby Yoda, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He kind of ends his tenure with this viral sensation.
Yeah, and having done in the launch of Disney Plus, he'd done several interviews going over the early briefs of that show and overseeing that. It's also sort of confusing because since there were 20 months left on his extension, I believe.
And he's sticking around. My guess is he's focusing largely on sort of the entertainment aspects, the film studio part of the business, and letting the new Bob Chapek deal with sort of the day-to-day operations as a CEO.
And then on the other hand, because so much was built up, it might, from the consumer's perspective, it might not be that noticeable because everything has already been put into motion, and then it's just a matter of Disney continuing to ride through their decisions for the next couple years of movie and park stuff.
All right, so speaking of Disney Plus and Baby Yoda, we finally got a lot of Baby Yoda merchandise at Toy Fair. Mike, you were there all weekend. Break it down. What was the Baby Yoda stuff?
Yeah, Bridget, Carrie, and I, we were running around the New York Toy Fair for the last 4 days. And on the very first 2 days before Toy Fair officially kicked off, we went to an event in New York where it was the debut of these Baby Yoda toys. The biggest one by far was the animatronic Baby Yoda. He goes for $60, but he was really realistic.
Is that Hasbro? Or?
Yeah, that was Hasbro. Yeah.
Okay.
And
it moves and it does all. It makes noise.
It coos. It doesn't come with the crib that you may have just seen on the B-roll for that. But
how much is the crib? Is it like an extra?
They're not selling the crib.
Oh, they're not.
It was just a display.
Missed opportunity. They should, if they sold that crib for another $60, people would buy it.
I joked about that during when I had a Hasbro meeting. It was just I thought you guys were going to charge $300 and be with the crib.
People would buy it.
A year before they had a similar toy. It was a Chewbacca with gorgeous hair, and it had sensors all over it, and it would take a nap or you turn it upside down.
Really?
And that one was a little bit more expensive than the Yoda one. But they also reps that were Disney reps that were at the event were really honest. Many of them, including one of the VPs, they didn't know about Baby Yoda until Disney Plus's launch.
Oh wow!
And literally the day after launch, walked into work and was like, "We gotta get on this.
Where's our Baby Yoda merch?" Right?
Yeah, and it was interesting because it wasn't even they're giving a warning of "Hey, we're gonna get going with the toys."
It's definitely this fodder for debate, right? Did Disney do the right thing by keeping it a secret and then like not having the merchandise, or did they shoot themselves in the foot, in the foot?
Well, creatively, I think it was definitely
creatively
a good decision,
it was a great
but
decision.
Fiscally, if you're on the business side
Right.
of that account,
You're like, wait, we could have made how many billions on Baby Yoda Funko Pops?
which led to like that initial run of pre-orders. They talked about how 3 weeks after the reveal of Baby Yoda, they were able to get pre-orders going for things like T-shirts and phone cases and other like print on demand, because that's a quick way to get going. But then at this event, in addition to the Baby Yoda animatronic, there was Baby Yoda themed board games. There's on the other side, while Baby Yoda's involved, there was the Lego Mandalorian Razor Crest ship as well.
So we got to move on. There's a lot of Baby Yoda stuff and Mandalorian stuff, but I want to talk about Hot Wheels because they also made some waves with their teeny tiny Cybertruck.
The two different
Tesla Cybertrucks. Yeah,
there's a $400 version. That's
still
a little bit bigger.
Still a bargain compared to the actual real thing. So
thousands of dollars less, as long as you don't need a ride in it.
Right.
So there's that, and they even include a sticker that lets you recreate the reveal moment where they were like, "It's unbreakable. Throw a rock." Just kidding. Or
it's a steel ball. To be fair,
thank you.
Yes. Which I
and-
love. I love that detail, and like they clearly had to get like Elon Musk's approval for that. So like it shows that Tesla at least has a sense of humor about that. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah. So that car goes for about $400 and is being limited edition.
It's not for everyone. What about the $20 one?
Yes, there's a much cheaper $20 version that fits onto traditional Hot Wheels tracks.
Right.
And it's also an RC car, so you can remote control it.
Oh.
But yeah, it's if you really want to get a Tesla Cybertruck, it's not important for you to drive it. You can get that, and I think the pre-order for the actual truck is cheaper than buying the $400 truck. I think you only need to put down like $100 still for a Tesla Cybertruck pre-order, and then cancel and get the money back whenever you want.
So beyond Cybertruck and Baby Yoda, what were some of the other highlights? And let's run through them quick because we don't got a lot of time.
I visited DC Collectibles on Saturday on Monday, and they had a really cool like artsy take on Batman. Batman costumes. So they have this Artist Alley line that they are like continuing to go through. Bridget visited this Amazon Alexa kitchen. It's a company that the way it works is it's a $300 kitchen, and the Alexa, it works with an Alexa skill that when it's connected to the kitchen, kids would pick up like items like food and have it scan, and then it would like acknowledge it.
Oh, wow.
So kids don't have to continuously say Alexa this, Alexa that.
Right.
The Alexa assistant would lead kids through various games you could play in it. Half of it was like a kitchen style thing, and the other half, when you flip it around, is like a supermarket thing. The version that she saw and the video and article are on CNET, and she even goes through some of the privacy issues involving Alexa with it as well. When seeing the video, it really helped connect, because it's not like the thing is really listening to the children, because I think there was definitely a worry of like at any given moment you're 2 seconds away from maybe buying cookies through the thing. But since the skill like sort of controls exactly what the interaction is, it was an interesting concept, but it's very early. It's going to be a while till it's officially ready. The release date is escaping me right now, actually.
Yeah, and we saw, by the way, some of the B-roll we're rolling through. I was really keen to see like there was a Transformers type robot, and then there's a Transformers show coming on Netflix, which seems really dark. I'm a big Transformers fan, as you could tell by this Optimus Prime T-shirt I'm wearing. But plenty of toy stuff. I know we got a lot. So why don't we move the Q&A, because we want to get some of the readers involved. What do you guys think about Disney's future with Iger at the helm? Is this a good departure or a bad one? And what else do you want to know more about Toy Fair? Our guys saw a lot there, but we want to know what your highlights were and what you're interested in seeing. While you're at it, why don't you subscribe and ring the bell so you can join us for all the live shows. In the meantime, BVG, what do we got?
What do you guys think was Iger's biggest contribution to the industry?
I mean, Disney Plus kind of has to be up there, just because he basically changed the way the company strategically operated to, go from this model where, the Hollywood studios and like the traditional cable TV model to like this direct consumer model, which is basically what everyone else is doing now. But like, I feel like Disney Plus executed so much better than anything else so far.
I think further back, the Marvel acquisition,
that's
just
true.
because that really changed how the movie tentpole perceives, and they now have launched it where they can now put out 3 to 4 of these things a year. In the middle of it all, created a truce with Sony where they can use Spider-Man. Yeah, for a hot second last summer, there was a little up in the air, but like they navigated that, and now they get to have Sony an agreement where Sony gets to make Spider-Man films, but at the same time they can use Spider-Man and have him be part of an active Marvel universe.
Well, even on a broader level, the argument that they bought up Pixar, they bought up Star Wars, they bought Marvel, they bought Fox, and the rest of the catalog of Marvel characters. Like just the cobbling together of all of our kind of our childhood is that's probably one of the biggest legacies for Iger.
Disney was also like one of the first major Netflix agreements in the past decade.
Right.
Like even though ultimately they reneged from it to make their own service.
Not necessarily reneged, they renegotiated. Yes.
And it was like 2013, I believe, when they were like, we're going to have all our new releases for a certain period of time.
Right.
And Moana, Star Wars, Rogue One, they made it to Netflix in due time pretty quickly and had runs on it before Disney Plus. So in a way, it was cool that they also sort of navigated consumer shifting of how streaming came about by testing with the major service, but then
launching their own,
as will many more companies this year.
Oh, yeah.
DC 417 or 147, sorry, I don't know how I screwed that up after all this time. Says I think the MCU was a solid contribution because it was such a cultural moment, changed the way that consumers think about movies and how these stories persist after the credits roll, literally and figuratively. I would agree with that one. I would agree with you, Mike. I think maybe Marvel overall, just because of the timing of it and the boom of the superhero genre, but overall, and this is going to sound like such a double-edged sword because monopolies are bad, Disney just kind of getting all of my favorite things under one roof. It's honestly like, it reminds me of when I was little and I'd have, a Star Wars toy out and a Spider-Man figure out kind of thing, and they would fight because of course they would. It's like that came to life in the movies, and I don't know, I'm kind of here for it, so that's my takeaway on it.
It also, though, energizes the industry. Like, even though Disney is owning a whole lot right now, NBC, Universal, Warner, they all need to step up in response to that. So there should be an improvement across the board with all those moves. And in one way, all the Disney park stuff came in reaction to Harry Potter's success at Universal.
Yes, it's a really good point.
So there is a bit of a back and forth. Like Disney is absolutely a huge leader right now in the space, but like the other companies are also influencing Disney too in their own ways.
Well, I would argue, by the way, just playing devil's advocate on the Marvel thing, yes, I think acquiring Marvel and building it up to what it is now, definitely, to Iger's credit and to the studio's credit. But keep in mind that like Marvel, the first run of films was not under Disney, right? It was Paramount. It was different. It was a different company, and it wasn't until Disney bought Marvel. Like I don't think technically the Avengers was a Disney
The ownership
movie.
for Marvel is very complicated. Like some of the Hulk stuff is still under Universal.
Yeah, but just remember like the original Iron Man and Iron Man 2, like the first run of Marvel, like
Incredible Hulk.
Phase 1 was not a Disney controlled thing. Like Disney basically took a successful machine and like made it run better, but they didn't start that machine, right? Like Feige was not he was not part of Disney at that point. When,
no, man, it was Favreau.
Marvel.
Sorry?
It was all Favreau made that happen.
Oh, right,
Iron Man
that's
movie,
true.
too.
With Iron Man, with Favreau, for sure. No, Feige was involved, but I'm just saying that Disney was not in the mix yet. They basically inherited this very smooth running machine, and they may have arguably made it run faster and bigger and better, but the parts were already there.
And I'm just saying that without Favreau, none of the parts would have existed in the first place.
That's
so he
true.
better be getting a nice fat paycheck. I'm sure he is.
I'm sure he's taken care of.
Yeah, without a doubt. First comments coming in from our resident Baby Yoda hater, Eric. He says, Iger has left his incredible mark. It's time to move on.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, that's a fair statement because often when it comes to these CEO positions, like it's not usually a long-term thing to be a CEO of a major company like this. It's usually like a period of time that like in T-Mobile, the CEO there is moving on soon.
Yep. And Iger's tenure has been pretty long. So yeah, you're right. Time to move on.
Unfortunately, that won't be the case because I'm sure we're going to be taking a lot more questions and comments. Oh, wait, here's one. Brian says, Grace from Beyond the Trailers is suggesting Bob Iger step down to dump all the boring responsibilities and focus more on the creative stuff. You kind of brushed on that earlier, right?
Yeah.
Do we have any other conspiracy theories as to why Bob Iger stepped down?
No, I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory. I mean, it's pretty well known and reported out. Like, you can read Jones' story as well. I mean, it's as executive chairman, he still has some sort of day-to-day duties, but it's not. I think it's handing off the whole machine to Chapek and basically kind of focusing on the entertainment side of things, the studios, the creative aspects. And frankly, it's probably more fun than running all the logistics of an entire company that includes networks, theme parks, and everything, right?
Precisely. Rob on Twitter is asking, any idea when Disney Plus is going to add the X-Men movies? Now, they've got the X-Men animated series from the 90s, and I think one or two of the other ones, like Wolverine and the X-Men, and X-Men Evolution, I think, is maybe on there. They're on there, but didn't they like sneak in the first X-Men or something recently?
Well, on Disney Plus, they do have an animated X-Men series from the 90s.
Right.
But
there's no,
if we're talking the movies,
I don't think
any of the movies are there, and I don't know who has the rights to them right now.
Yeah, that's the confusing thing is, like, even though they own the catalog of movies, they likely have been signed away to like streaming services or something to somebody else, and so it's about renegotiating those terms or waiting for those contracts to run out before bringing some of that stuff back on. That's why you've got a couple of Marvel properties still on like Netflix, for instance, or other services, because there were existing contracts that were in place before Disney Plus launched.
Like Star Wars: The Force Awakens is still a little bit tied in with a Stars agreement, and I remember like Stars has a slight ad involved in order to be on Disney Plus as well.
Right.
I had no idea. That's interesting. I'm certainly curious to see where it's going to pan out, but for the time being, this comment from Storm King, do you think this is more of a lateral move for Bob instead of a step down?
I mean, stepping down is, I mean, that's just sort of a term that we use. It doesn't, I don't think we're equating it to him like taking a lower position. Like, he's retiring. Like, he's well past retirement age, a couple of years past retirement age at this point. So, like,
69, right?
Yeah, 69. So he's, and I'm sure he's pretty well off at this point. So he doesn't necessarily need to like keep working. I think he's doing it. He's running out his contract basically to probably focus on the things he wants to do. And so it's not, I don't think when we say step down, it's not like taking a lower position or being demoted. It's nothing like that.
But is he going to have any less responsibility, or is it truly a lateral move?
I guess it depends on your definition. Like, he'll probably he'll have fewer responsibilities because he won't be CEO. Like, the CEO will have to run not just the creative side of things on the movie studio side, but like the networks, the theme parks, the merchandising, all that, the entire Disney machine, right? Whereas he'll likely just have to focus on like one aspect of Disney, which is probably the aspect he wants to focus on, the creative side.
Did the stock market react negatively as soon as that news hit last night?
I don't know, actually. I didn't see what the stock market. It's always we'll see we'll look up what the stock price is right now. But keep in mind, it was announced after the bell closed, so like those post after market trades are always a little wonky. But
true.
What's that right now?
Google says it went down 0.94%, but that's not
that's a pretty moderate.
So marginal.
Keep in mind again that this was expected. Like, him leaving was not a huge surprise. He was definitely he was always sort of set for retirement. It was just the timing was kind of unclear. So I don't think anyone regarded this as a huge negative, especially since, to your point, like, he already put a lot of this stuff in place, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
It caught me off guard. I wasn't really expecting that, but all right, moving on. We got a few minutes left, and Mike, Roger, we're all geeks here. We got the important stuff up front, but I want to know what you saw at Toy Fair that caught your attention.
Mike,
I mean, I feel like we went through a lot of the biggest ones, but
no, not the biggest
that I really
ones for
particularly
you.
liked. There were a few different toys, not as many as I wanted, honestly, that showcased Wonder Woman 1984 with the golden armor suit. Mattel had one where there's like a bunch of colors that come out of the suit. The McFarlane Toys is a lot more deluxe one. I was honestly hoping for more of that since the movie comes out this summer, but there'll be plenty of time.
I'm sure there'll be
release.
Plenty of merch for that.
Yeah.
I did see. I was like scanning through YouTube for other Toy Fair stuff, and I stumbled upon some NECA toys. Like I'm a big like Brian Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, and just seeing like there's a Super Shredder figure that NECA created. Like I kind of. Not that I don't think I would get because I don't have space in my house for that. But I would like if I had the space, I would totally buy that.
On the Power Rangers side of my life, we got to do an exclusive reveal for the Hasbro has a Lightning collection series where they do photorealistic recreations of the action figures, and so they revealed original Blue Ranger Billy with glasses on his head, and Ranger Slayer, which is a version of the Pink Ranger from the comics, who's initially brainwashed by the villainous Laura Draken, and she has a bow of darkness, which is a 3-arrowed bow.
Ranger Slayer?
Yeah,
I love that
her
name.
name's Ranger Slayer, and so she's initially on the villainous side of it. Along with on a slightly more geekier specific note, they had Power Rangers Zeo Gold Tray of Triforia, which is an alien who came in from that series who arrives and splits into 3 different people, and his powers passed on to Jason who was originally Mighty Morphin Red in that show.
The original Red Ranger.
Yeah.
All right.
Along with a Time Force Red from the Power Rangers Time Force series.
Yeah, there's so many of these Power Ranger shows. I was lost after basically the original series.
And then we also got to cover a reveal for a Star Wars retro collection. They had a line of Empire Strikes Back figures revealed last weekend. They're like little small ones. They're made in the same style of figures from the 80s.
Okay.
But with today's technology making them.
So like more articulated and
like more detail, even though it looks like something that comes from the 80s. And so they're not like super detailed.
Is
but
the
they're
packaging
like,
very similar to the original packaging?
Yeah. They have the tenor tag, and like they have a Yoda on it that has it's like wearing a snake because Dagobah.
Was there like a Luke carrying Yoda figure at all?
There's a Luke figure. There's Leia for Hoth, Han Solo, a Boba Fett figure as well.
Nice.
So that was a really cool thing to have from there. And going back to Transformers, there was the Netflix trailer for their anime series based on the property,
which looks dark, and I'm super excited about that as a big Transformers fan. So yeah.
I'm with you, Roger, on the NECA news, but I got a little ticked off because I myself just the other day received my NECA shredder that I ordered offline like late last year. They do this thing where they make them Toy Fair exclusives or like Comic-Con exclusives, and then they come to GameSpot later on. So I pre-ordered that. I got the shredder, the Splinter, and a Foot Soldier, and just because I'm such a huge fan of the 90s movie especially. And then as soon as they announce that, or as soon as I receive that, I get this email alert that coming soon, Casey Jones and Incognito Raph, Toka and Razar.
Those are from the second film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah, and then the Super Shredder, which they don't have a picture of up here. But yeah, the Super Shredder was confirmed too, and I'm stewing over it. But that's me.
Well, good luck trying to find them.
I'll just do the pre-order thing again as I slowly but surely go broke in my early 30s.
I know.
All right, that was pretty fun, guys. Maybe we should shut things down for the day. Do you have any other closing comments about Toy Fair before we do close it out, Mike?
It was a quieter show this year in general, I think. Like there were some Black Widow toys as well, but nothing that I have. Only a couple like so far. I'm sure there'll be way more going into May.
Got it. All right. So before we go, we wanted to make a brief PSA in an effort to be more interactive with you guys. We opened a voicemail account. Yes, voicemail. Remember those things? If you have a question that can't wait for the show, go ahead and call us at 862-250-5173. We'll do our best to answer the question on the next episode. And hey, don't forget to follow us on Twitter. And as always, if you want to learn more, there are links to all today's stories and places you can subscribe in the description below. For the Daily Charge, I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Mike Sorrentino.
Thanks for joining us.
Can't get enough? Check out the Daily Supercharge, our extended post show with special features, audience Q&A, and